Now, what did we do there? And that document is still available online or in the documents of the making. So the first thing we began with is look at look at Brazil, this continental-sized country that we have. So why are people wanting to learn English? Why is English being taught? Here I'm only talking about public school system. I'm not talking about private schools, meaning language institutes. So why is there this demand for learning foreign language to begin with? What is the educational value of the foreign language? In history, we know there is an educational value in learning foreign language, but it's not to speak the language. It's not strange. It's not to speak foreign language. The importance of learning a foreign language, and this is what we call educação linguística, as opposed to ensino de línguas. The importance of learning a foreign language is to understand, for example, how people who speak a different language, they are using their bodies in a different way. They're using their mouths to produce sounds, food, for example, right? Which we don't have in our own language. They produce accents, which we don't have. Their minds, their bodies in different languages, different cultures, their minds think differently. They express themselves differently. They think differently. They dress differently. They eat differently. They behave differently. What is the educational value? Understanding and appreciating difference and diversity, complexity. And from this, you begin with learning about the foreigner, foreign language, and the educational value of this will help you to understand your neighbor in your street who's different to you. Once you understand the difference, this is how you can bring it down to your own local level. This is the educational value of learning a foreign language. It's not to become a foreigner. It's not to speak like that foreigner. Now, if you have the time and the resources, you can also learn to speak like the foreigner, but it's not the basic educational value of the foreign language. So this is the difference between educação linguística, which is appreciating difference, which the learning of a foreign language can sensitize you to, especially young children. Ask them to say, a young child to say something in a foreign language. They're immediately capable of saying it. They will reproduce instantly. And then they'll also say things like, que engraçado, que interessante. And that is where you begin to discuss the issue. That's where education begins. Not by trying to be a foreigner. So we did that in orientações curriculares. This is what our proposal was. In the basically, again, because in the vast interior of Brazil, this was a reality that we had, and we did this research to make before we wrote these orientações. The vast majority of teachers of English in public schools in this huge interior of Brazil, right, or os Brasis, didn't speak English. Here you are in a privileged place, in a university, right, speaking English. These are teachers of primary and secondary schools, ensino fundamental, who are teaching English, who didn't speak English. So what are we going to do? Throw them away? No, they are teachers. They have the most important thing in an educational context. They know how to teach. So they can teach educação linguística. Maybe they can't teach you how to speak English, but they can certainly teach you educação linguística. So that is what I call, if you like, sustainability. Using the resources that are available for the maximum benefit of the population. Otherwise, what we would be sending away our teachers, telling them they're not competent in English. And by the way, remember always when we talk about competence in English and how colonial it still is, why are the only certificates certificates of competence in English still in the hands of the native speakers,
Yes.
where you have to pay how many dollars? I don't remember. Yeah? Lots, right? We have so many, look at you, competent teachers of English in this country, capable of saying who is competent, who is not. No, but we still accept that these foreign native speakers have the only authority of telling us whether we speak English.
Thank you, professors. Now we invite all the participants. Actually, I want to thank all the participation. We invite all the participants to join us for the coffee break. Meanwhile, we also invite you to enjoy the music performance by the UFES Music Course, Vitória Dias and Matheus Santos. And that's it. So let's go to the coffee break. Thank you.
Diria até cameraman.
Gente, você tá demais. Agora eu entendi. Ah,
Vai ser uma que site.
olha ela. Um serviço técnico. Eu sei, a gente tá aqui para isso. Para falar dela.
Dela, nossa querida.
Quer deixar aqui? Deixa eu te falar uma coisa. Desculpa. Pode.
Guys, the coffee
Certamente
break
mais
is
importante
over
que
there in the back.
eu mexi um pouco na minha apresentação hoje de manhã e eu mandei para Mariana. Onde quem eu falo?
Eu acho que é com a Mari mesmo, mas você vai ter um clicker para você ir passando. Mas dá um aceno para a Mari que ela te ajuda.
Obrigada.
Oi, meu amor. Como assim?
Essa mocinha aqui?
Eu
sabia.
Teste só.
Where are those happy days? It seems so hard to find. I tried to reach for you, but you had closed your eyes. Whatever happened to our love? I wish I understood. It used to be so nice, it used to be so good. So when you hear me now, you need to hear me SOS. And I love you, give me nothing else to save me SOS. you tried to make me happy. I wish I understood. What happened to us? It's just a piece of you. So when you need me, darling, get to hear me. SOS. And though you gave me nothing else can save me. SOS. When you're gone, how can I even try to go on? When you're gone, no, I try. How can I carry on? So when you need me, darling, get to hear me. SOS. And though you gave me nothing else can save me. SOS. When you're gone, how can I even try to go on? When you're gone, no, I try. How can I carry on? When you're gone, how can I even try to go on? When you're gone, no, I try. How can I carry on? Obrigada. Obrigada, gente. Thank you. Left no time to regret. In history, with mistake, won't say back. Me and my head high, and my tears dry. Get all it out of my eye. You way back to what you know, so far removed for all that we went through. And I tread a troubled track. My heart's are sad. I go back to that. We only say goodbye in words. I'm tired of sometimes. You go back to her and I go back to her. I love you much. It's not enough. You love me and I love both. And life is like pie, and I'm my tiny baby rolling up the walls inside.
apresentação está no notebook dela. Quantos mais? Mais uma agora? Mais duas. Apresentação, slide.
Guys, Jana's books is available over there in a hall here. So if you want to see, you're welcome.
Tem que. Peraí que eu tô fazendo outra coisa, né? Graça. A gente fez homenagem e eu precisei esconder esses vídeos. Entendi. E aí eles estão no lista. Você quer botar essa palavra?
Sometimes you make me blue. Sometimes I feel blue.
Não, pronto, não olhei.
At times I feel you. I miss you, darling. Makes me so confused. I keep on falling in and out of love with you. I never lost someone the way I love you. Never felt this way. How did you give me so much pleasure? Cause me so much pain. Just when I think taking more than what a fool. I was so funny, making love with you. I keep on falling in and out of love with you. I never so long the way I love you. Oh, baby, Obrigada. Thank you. There is some sky running in your eyes. You look at me, and babe, I wanna catch on fire. It's buried in my soul, like California gold. You found the life in me that I couldn't find. So when I want you to what I can't find the words. Every time we say goodbye, baby, it hurts. When the sun goes down and the band won't play, I always remember us to say, lovers in the dark, always run away. You don't know how to die, but tell me try. I don't and the sun goes down, and the band won't play. I'll always remember this way. Oh yeah, I wanna be just a very baby, yeah. Every time we sing and the sun goes down, and the band won't play, I'll always remember us this way. When you look at me and the whole world fades, I always remember us this Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria and Mateus, for being here with us. Now we invite all participants to return to their seats so we can continue the event and move on to our next activity, okay?
Isso, vai. Não, mas também, assim, às vezes notícia as coisas não estão muito enviesadas e tal, e ela vai criticar, ela é bem decisiva, assim, como as coisas são. Deixa eu pegar uma caneta ali, tá?
Aqui uma caneta. Eu não sei de quem é.
E aí,
Meu amigo.
Nossa senhora! Uma coxinha bem de leve.
Bem de leve.
Agora acho que eu vou pegar uma sushi.
Eu comprei o meu hoje antes. Não
Aham.
tinha caneta minha aqui, não.
Ah, então é aqui o meu.
Tem gente. Tem mais gente no presencial do que no online.
É, mas eu imaginei mesmo que isso ia acontecer.
Entendi, tá assim que eles estão vendo. Não, que eu tenho uma amiga que ela tava online, aí eu troquei mensagem com ela, tipo, você perguntou, Giovana? Ela sim, a minha Gil, nossa.
Eu acho que deve ser a minha Giovana também.
Ah, você conhece a Gil também? Aham.
É, ela tá na minha sala, na minha turma.
Ah.
Sim, eu logo imaginei que era ela no lugar. Circunferência. A gente vai continuar a circunferência. Eu também comprei. Não comprei ontem, comprei hoje, porque eu falei, vou.
Pode pegar na minha mochilinha. Abre o primeiro bolso, maior.
Eu falei que tinha 12 minutos, é que a Mariana me deixou com o cronômetro. Ela falou assim, segue esse aqui. Ela cronometrando. Ele falou, segue esse marcando no horário. Aí eu pensei, 9h05, vai até 9h15, 10 minutos. Ele tava no cronômetro. Aí eu disse, desculpa ter te interrompido. Não, tá tranquilo.
Você vai querer fazer uma conversa com eles no caixa, não?
Não, depois da aula da semana que vem que a gente combinou. Aí a gente senta na minha sala tranquilo e conversa. Fechou?
We now transition into the panel session, whose title is Publish or Perish, Questioning Language and Identity Within a New Liberal Agenda in Academic and Media Arenas. We now invite our panelists, Dr. Janaísa Biscardi, Maria Luísa Nobre, and Rogério Ângelo to join us. So our first panelist to speak is Our first panelist to speak will be Janaísa Biscardi with a presentation titled We Have to Be Seen, Don't We? Jana Biscardi was born in Votuporanga, São Paulo, and holds a bachelor's degree in linguistics from the Universidade Estadual de Campinas, as well as a master's and a PhD in the same field. With the motto, How We Communicate Matters, she has been creating content in different social networks for 8 years to draw attention to the importance of language in our daily basis, from reading the news to writing work in mail. Jana Biscardi offers courses and lectures on the relationship between language and society, her interest for the past 20 years. Her first book, Escrever Sem Medo, was published by Editora Planeta in March 2024, and it's available over there in the front. Before Jana takes the stage, I would like to express my gratitude to the significance of her work in my life. I discovered her YouTube channel when she reached out to me on Facebook to announce it because it went for a long time. I don't know why. Since then, I've been following her journey closely. English language and literature course wasn't something I had considered before, but life directed me towards it. Now here at college, I encounter many of the topics she covers on her platform, demonstrating the importance of her work and how it can be to a broad public. Um, and nowadays, her work not only creates a great impact, but also resonates with what I am experiencing at college. So Janaísa can take the stage, and thank you.
Hi. Thank you. Wow. Very nice. Loved it. And that's everything I can say in English. No, second. I just want to have my presentation here just to make sure that I will be talking to you the things that I plan to, because I usually change the course of my ideas. Okay, perfect. Nice. So, okay, thank you. Oh, not very all, okay, fine. It's an honor for me to be here. I'm always very, very glad when I'm invited to come to the universities. It's not something that I planned when I decided to start a YouTube channel many years ago, like 9 years ago. I never thought that I would be doing what I'm doing now, what I've been doing in the past years. I will start by saying a little bit of how I started doing what I do today. And it started in December 2015. And my first idea was to talk about language in the corporative world. I wanted to sell courses to industry. I don't know. I wanted to talk about language in interaction in business workplaces. But very, very fast, it changed. I wanted to talk about language in general. I started studying linguistics when I was 17 years old. I was very young. Today I am 43. And I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know. I started the course thinking that I would be studying to become a translator. But then when I realized I was dealing with phonetics and I loved it, and I decided to do something else. And it changed the way, somehow the way I see the world, because everything that I'm discussing or thinking about somehow is connected to language and how it works in our relation to the world that we live in. So when I started my YouTube channel in 2015, I was very naive. I had no idea, also there in that place, of what I was doing. And if you know my work, or if you follow what I do, you know that this main idea of being someone talking to business people, of course it went wrong, really wrong, because I changed it very fast what I was planning to do. And I hadn't planned to be the person who is known for science communication. And suddenly, I had people talking to me, oh, nice, you talk about linguistics, you're a science communicator. No, I'm not. What is science? What is to be a communicator? Who am I? You're not doing that, but it's something that I was always confronted with. You are a science communicator. You are working with science communication. And since I am not working in a university, I am not a professor. I've been many years, just as many of you here, but I am not there now. I was always confronted with the idea that I could not recognize myself as a science communicator because I don't do it in the university. I'm not there. So I wouldn't be allowed to say that I am a science communicator. So I just started talking about language through the lens of what I've learned and experienced at the university. So that's how I understood it when I started doing it. And well, this is where you can find me, just for you to know. But then, in the last few years, I finally understood that it was part of my job to be a science communicator somehow. And you see that I put this somehow in the middle because I don't want to feel arrogant or something like it. Like I own this position. It's not the way I understand it. But before we talk about, when Mariana invited me to come here, I was thinking, what can I tell them? How can I contribute to this discussion? And when the theme was publish or perish, I was like, I am perishing every day. I work on the internet. You have no idea. So this parallel between what you have to do at the university, the many articles, the pressure that you have to publish, or you will perish. It's something that the ones that work with the internet also experience in a way. I know it's not the same, but you are always pressured to do something in a specific way in order to be validated, in order to be existing in that place. So to talk about that, I wanted to just to think of what the science communication can mean. We have this idea when people start to talk about science communication, they would say the word vulgarização, for instance. It's not the word that you use anymore. But then you have popularização, divulgação. There are different terms to discuss science communication. And it's a big ecosystem. You can be at the university, and then there is a blog. It's maintained by the university. The professors that are there, they are taking part of their time to produce content to this blog. It's science communication. You can be writing an article to discuss it with others, with your peers. in a conference. This is science communication. You can wear a costume of a banana and talk about mosquitoes and the relation to the bananas. You are not connected to a university directly, and you are doing science communication. So science communication can be many things, nowadays especially. With the internet, there is this idea that you only need to take your phone, and it's easy. You are there, you are doing it. So you can write an article, a book, a blog. You can record a video. Everything is science communication. All of these types of media can be understood as science communication. And it can be performed by people doing it from inside of a university and from outside of the university. And I find it sometimes hard to think of how we can, or if we should, categorize all this content. How we should, or if we should, categorize all these different sorts of contents. I was talking to my colleagues yesterday, went for a beer, and I was talking to them that once people started talking to me about my channel, I would say, no, it's nothing. It's just a channel. And why do they do that? And why do I still do that? Because at different moments of my career, as a content producer, I understood that as something less important, less interesting. Because I was not at the university, I was not validated directly, I was not part of a group of people directly. Of course, I am part of these people because of look at what I'm doing today and look at what I do at my channel. I'm always talking about the things that I hear, that I study, and these things that I hear and study, they come from the university, and I have been there as well. So when we are talking about science communication, we are thinking of who, of course. There are three simple questions. Who is doing it? How this person is doing it? And where this person is doing it? Inside or outside, and also this concept, inside or outside. But if you are working in a university or not, if you are part of a group of people or a research group and you are doing that inside of this infrastructure or not, if you're talking to your peers or if you're talking to the general public, if that's a good word to say. So there are many questions that people ask themselves when they are doing science communication. And it's interesting to think of this first word, vulgarization. And so it's like you are enlightening people about science, as if you should enlighten people. So there's also a power relation here. Who is talking to who and how it's been addressed. So 9 years ago, as I told you, internet became my place, my workplace. And I've been there for all this time, and many changes happened. And I decided to bring you some of my experiences working there to you. I was reading science article from this journal called Consciência. Do you know this? Mm-hmm. It's a newspaper. It's called Consciência. And this guy, Escobar, he is a journalist. Oh, and this is one point. Journalists, they are science communicators. Also, when they work like for in São Paulo for FAPESP, or when you see O Globo or any newspaper, they are saying, "Oh, look, if you drink 3 liters of water, you're gonna lose weight." No, it's not what they say in the article. No. Yes, even when they are not saying what they should, they are doing science communication, right? I just forgot that. So Escobar is a journalist, and he worked with science communication. And in this article, it came to my attention that he said Graças à internet e às redes sociais, qualquer cientista pode se comunicar hoje diretamente com a sociedade, sem necessidade de intermediário. Focus on that. Sem necessidade de intermediário. Por meio de sites, blogs, vídeos, podcasts e outras plataformas diversas. Em muitos casos, basta uma conta no Facebook. Well, you just told me there is no intermediário. But now you are telling me that I just need a Facebook account. So it means there is an intermediário. And this intermediário is Facebook. Is there anyone here that talks about their work on the internet nowadays? Who does that here? Do you talk about your work on the internet? I'm not telling you that you have to have like 1 million subscribers. I'm just asking if you talk to people about your work on the internet, in your platforms. You do. If you do, you know that it's not as simple as that. And it's this, how do you say that in English? A falácia da simplicidade. Simplicity, falsy.
Fallacy.
Is that a word? Fallacy. Thank you. Usually when I think that I don't know the word, it's exactly the word that I thought because it's really similar to Portuguese. It's this fallacy that it's very simple. It's just you and your audience. Of course, you don't need to own O Globo or Folha de São Paulo in this case. So it might seem easier. It might seem easier, but there is something in between you and the audience. And this is the Facebook account, the YouTube account, the Instagram account. It's the same on Facebook, but it's not only you. Even if you have a blog, you have to find a way to people find you. So there you have it, the algorithm. I was looking for articles from people discussing science communication made by YouTubers. And I found this article. They interviewed many YouTubers, I don't know, in the US. And one of the questions was exactly about the algorithm. It's something that we are concerned with. For instance, yesterday I posted a video, but yesterday was a bad day. I mean, it was a good day, but it was a bad day. It was a good day, but because finally, some people were arrested, presumably, because they murdered Marielle. And this was a very good day to think of how this structure, politics, and power works. But for a person like me, who works with science communication and is trying to be seen, we have, don't we? It was hard because I decided I wouldn't be talking about Marielle. I wouldn't make this more of a thing for me, like, hey, look, Marielle, I wouldn't do that this way. That's not the way I do things on the internet. So I posted a video at 5 p.m. And then I remembered, like 3 hours later, we were having fun. And I was like, oh, I have to check how the statistics are. And they were horrible. The title of my video had no Marielle. And I'm talking about Marielle because yesterday, the internet, it's funny. I mean, the social network, they were in different social networks. You would see people talking about Marielle. So if I had recorded a video talking about Marielle and put that in the title, I would probably be seen much more than I was yesterday. So the algorithm is something that we are concerned with all the time. So in this article that I told you, there's in discussions of YouTube, the algorithm looks like an Old Testament God, unknowable, ineffable, capricious, but definitely all-powerful. As many have reported before, social media content lives and dies. And this is very important. Lives and dies. And nowadays, it might die 5 minutes after you posted it. and for scientists who are willing to talk about their work on the internet, it's very important to understand that it might die after hours of effort. And social media producers live and die as well on the surfacing decisions of our various algorithmically curated feeds. When Escobar tells us that it's easy, I mean, he's not just saying that it's easy. In the article, he's discussing, you should have support to produce the content and this and that, but he's saying that it's only you and the audience. We can't forget the algorithm. We can't forget the social media, the platforms. They work differently. In YouTube, the ones that work with the algorithm, many people, they usually say that there are more than 300 modifications that are made in the algorithm in a year. But some of these modifications, you don't realize that something changed, was altered. But some of them, you really understand that something happened. Because suddenly, your content is not available anymore for other people. It's not reaching other people. So it makes a difference. But I am not the owner of YouTube. I have no idea how they do that. There is this article from Jan Bloemet from 2020, and he's talking about politics in Brazil and the case of the far right in Brazil and in other countries. And he's talking specifically about Twitter for for politicians, so like Trump. And I like this, even if you think that this is not exactly how it works, I think it helps us to understand that a platform like Twitter, or Twitter, I don't know how we call it now, it's not like you and me and the audience. No, it's an illusion. You have the person who writes the tweet, and it's not the same in the different platforms. They are different places. You will be interacting in different ways, just like Professor Mario was telling us before. So you are there, and then you are the producer of the content. You post your tweet. When you post your tweet, then there comes the Twitter algorithm, because it's not you that are distributing the content. It's the algorithm. And then the algorithm will find other people. These people, they might be real. I don't know if it's a good way of saying that, but they might be real or not. They might be bots. If it's a bot, bots. Okay, you got it. It might be automated. And Twitter changed a lot recently. And now people buy this verification thing, this blue thing, and they automate everything. So it's common now that you enter a post, it's about, I don't know, plants, and there is someone saying, the nuclear bomb is coming. It's about plants, green things, because it's automated. Mm-hmm. And it's everywhere. So you have this. It reaches other people. And then you have the Twitter algorithm again. And then you have other people. And it goes, it's wild. It's very interesting to study and textualization in Twitter. It's very, very interesting. And this is one of the topics of this article. Because you have these people here that talk about your content or share your content to other people, that they just get to your content because of the algorithm. So they are all the time deciding where your content goes. And so you try to trick the algorithm. There are many digital marketing professionals. They are telling you all the time what you have to do because you want to be seen, right? All the time they are doing that. But during many years, they were doing that, saying, no, it's just you and the audience. It's easy. You don't need much. Take your phone. And I think that we still do that now that we have the social media, and professors, people that are in university are being pressured to show the results of what they do. And then you have to plan what you're going to do, what you're going to share. And then I found this article discussing one example of producing content to the internet. It's a research group. They decided to produce content on linguistics, and they are discussing their experience, how it went. And they will say, outra surpresa no processo foi o tempo demandado para a gravação. Apesar de os vídeos terem apenas cerca de 7 minutos, a gravação quadro a quadro, que resulta nesse stop motion, que é um tipo de vídeo, uma maneira de fazer, né, o vídeo, requer horas de gravação. Ao todo, é possível estimar que cada vídeo tenha levado cerca de 18 horas de gravação, em geral, divididas em 2 ou 3 sessões em diferentes dias. 18 hours. And I'm not talking, it's not the whole time they needed to post it. You have the script, they recorded it, and then you have to edit it. And in this article, they say, oh, it took like 30 hours to edit, or something like it. So you have almost 50 hours for one video that might not be seen. So this idea that it's easy, it's false. It's not true. I might sound very negative. It's been many years on the internet. But it's not to be negative. It's just to show that when, I think that it's copies, but you can correct me, that when you write a project, you have to put there, what is your idea to show your project or the results of what you do to the general public. And then people are creating different Instagram profiles that will last like 2 months. Because you have to do it. And you don't have the time to plan. It's crazy. It makes no sense. This is a print from my Instagram, from my YouTube channel from yesterday, a little before yesterday. When I post a video, oh yeah, and I get really rich, I know. It's a month work. And it took me a while to get there, rich. But every time that I post a video, they will show me if people are coming from the video or not. Look, it's bad for me. It's going down. They will show you different statistics, and they will show you if I'm getting money from it or not. Usually I'm not. But, well, that's fine. People who work with this, they will say, no, you don't make money with posting the video. You get recognized, and then you get the job. But then it takes you 50 hours to post one video. You are not recognized yet. You are not validated by your community. You're not making any money from the internet. So where does it come from? Where does it come from? And there is this. YouTube, vamos remover os dislikes. Prezamos pela saúde mental dos nossos criadores de conteúdo. And it's true, they said that. There was this dislike thing. You can't do that anymore. But then when you post a video, and you are here in this page, here will come an announcement. Congratulations. Your video is going just regular. And that's it. And in this case, it's even worse. Parabéns, o seu vídeo está tendo um desempenho pior que o normal. So when you post a video and 1 or 2 hours later, YouTube will tell you that. Instagram does that differently. After a few hours, they might say, well, your video is reaching more people than usual. You were like, I know, that's good. So the different platforms, they will do it differently. But they are trying to show you that you should stay there. Stay there. But if I am working in 4 different platforms, how long should I stay there to be seen and to be relevant? Because what it means to be relevant. If every time people ask what I do, I tell them that I have a YouTube channel, and I tell them it's only 100,000 followers, what am I doing? I'm telling people that I'm not relevant enough because I don't have 1 million subscribers. I should, I might, I could. Look at the verbs. It's an English class. You see that all the time, that because you can always do better, always, every day. I received an email from another platform. Jana, we realized that your performance is going bad. What happened? I was so pissed, sorry, that I answered, dear blah blah blah. I am, I know. I know the time.
No.
I answered, well, dear blah, 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 I am tired. I am very tired. I am just tired. I wrote tired like 3 times. Because all of you from the different platforms, you are telling me all the time that I should stay longer here, and not at the other one. Stay here. Stay here with us. You're going to make money. And every time that there is a new platform, you have no idea. The content producers, they are like, oh God, now it's my time, run. They think that now that there is a new platform, it's going to work. It's this promise that, of course, never comes. It's called capitalism. It will never come. Never. Because you are all the time pursuing this, I don't know, how is it, carrot? Oh, there's this carrot. Look at it. Go. But there are millions of people trying to do the same. It takes time. It takes a lot of time. It takes time to be seen. And it takes time, if you are an independent content producer, to make money of it. It took me 3 years to receive my first $100 that became, at the time, R$200. After 3 years of work. But then, there's always a discourse for that. The marketers, they will say, no, you are doing wrong. You are not making money with the videos. I told you before. It's something else. You are building your relevance. It's gonna come. So there is always a way to trick you, to tell you that you should stay longer there in that platform because it's gonna help you. But who is getting the money? It's not you. It's not me. It's the platforms. And a lot of money. When I'm invited to come to the universities, sometimes I'm afraid I'm not formal enough in different contexts. Because I'm speaking English, so it's easier for me because it's not my main language. But I remember going to a university and a friend of mine, she was watching me and she told me you were crazy. Because when talking about funding, I told the students, I told the audience that I only kept doing what I do because I had a husband. And there goes my feminism. Because my husband is an engineer. Oh yeah, life is different. And at different points of my life, when I was not working with something else, I was only doing YouTube or all the other platforms. I was not earning anything. So when we talk about privilege and everything, I only kept doing what I was doing because I had someone else besides me to tell me, it's very nice what you do. Go, keep doing it. Funding is hard. And I can show you that. Do you know Serra Pilheira? Serra Pilheira is an institute maintained by very wealthy people. I will say that way. Fancier. And they promote science. They fund science. But what is called science? Do you work with linguistics? Are you a science? Saussure and Chomsky? Huh? But you, are you sure? Sociolinguistics. You are not. I know that I work with Chomsky ideas. You are not as well. Serra Pilheira does not fund any humanity content. And they are one of the more known institutions to fund science communication in Brazil. And this is an ad for a project that they are developing now. This chamada pública is from now. They are looking for good podcast projects. And then you have where science has an important role and areas, science areas supported by Serra Pilheira, which means ciências da vida, geociências, física, química, ciência da computação ou matemática. You can tell me, no, but it's just this case. No, it's not. Usually, they don't support, they don't fund content from areas that are from the humanities. And it's interesting the way they talk about it. Yes. Yeah, and this is good because it's for Black people. It's not very easy because of the racism that it's also there in the platforms. So it's an important initiative. But que contem boas histórias nas quais a ciência e o método científico têm um papel central. What does it mean? What is science? And what is scientific method? For Serra Pilheira, an important institution for funding science communication in Brazil. In the same article that I told you before, these researchers are trying to understand how you do that on the internet. They say, em razão disso, uma das atuais tarefas do projeto, que hoje conta com uma equipe de 5 bolsistas de diferentes áreas do conhecimento, é a de desenvolver e investigar melhores estratégias de divulgação. They are talking about the algorithm and everything. They have like 5 people working with them. 5 people. Do you know how much does it cost? Do you know how much it costs to have like 5 people working for you to produce like 2 or 3 videos? If you don't have funding, how you do that? How you do that? And then you have Brasil Paralelo. Brasil Paralelo, they have lots of money. And they produce a lot of content. And not only that, they do a lot of propaganda. They have money for that. They have really billions of reais. I have no idea how they get it. And we don't. But they have a lot of money, and it means that their content will be seen, not mine or yours. So it's not just you and me. It's you, me, the algorithm, and the impact that money has to the algorithm. It's not only money, but it's also money, and lots of money. And also, there's something else. There's this validation. How you become recognized as a science communicator. If you work at the university, you might be understood as a professor, but how you, just using the words of Professor Mario, you are many I mean, it's not that I know exactly how to say that, but you have these different profiles inside of you. How do you become a science communicator? And if you are outside of the university, even worse, because you are not validated by a title. So how do you do that? I was reading another article, and they say, objetivando a testar de alguma maneira a qualidade do conteúdo de canais de divulgação científica, 2 blogueiros que faziam parte do Science Blogs Brasil e começaram seus próprios canais no YouTube, Rafael Bento Soares e Vinícius Penteado, tiveram a ideia de criar um selo de qualidade para canais de divulgação científica. And so, you start to develop research on science communication in Brazil, and the method that you use to analyze, to discuss science communication is, I will consider the channels that are validated by this group of people. So you are doing a research that is very narrowed because they decided that they would create this thing, this validation method, and I realized while doing this research that many articles use the same strategy. I will investigate only the researchers or the communicators that work through this quality thing. I don't know the word for sale, I forgot. Thing. The point is, I brought the email, but I won't show you. I think it's not ethics. I was thinking about ethics. Years ago, I sent an email for this group of people. They have this, it's called, I forgot the name, I'm sorry, I will remember that. Later. I wrote them. I realized there was this stamp, people would work together, and they would discuss science and communication. It was like, great. And then I wrote them. Hi, my name is Janalisa. I do that. I produce content for the internet. I have a YouTube channel, and I talk about linguistics somehow. It would be great to be part of the team. And the answer that I got, thank you, very nice that you're doing your work. Unfortunately, we are not accepting new people to the group. And when we do, we usually accept people that were appointed by the members of the group. So, well, I didn't know personally any of the members of the group. Am I part of this stamp? I'm not. Am I part of this society? I am not. And look, I'm not shading these people. That's not my interest here. I am talking about politics. I am talking about power and content. And there are different nuances to that. Because when they say that I can't be part of it, because I'm not part of the team, that's what they say. Pequeno clube do Bolinha. And it was really a clube do Bolinha. Because there was another research, and there were like 10 men and 2 women that were working together with this group in one specific research. So I am not part of the group. I won't be studied. I mean, not that I care. I mean, understand what I say. I'm alone, nobody cares. It's not that. I am talking about, if you are talking about science communication, if you are researching about science communication, and then you decided that your method is to find out who they are only because they are part of a specific group. What about the others that are not seen? We keep the same power structures everywhere. When I saw that, I was like, I don't care. Okay, stay there. But it's something really important. What is science? Who can be funded? And how? And look, The content is in the end. It should be the first. When I started, it was the first. It's the first as well now. But now, when I am drinking a beer at a bar, I remember that I posted a video, I had planned it, and I look at it, and it doesn't have like the views that we usually have. It usually has. Of course, I am not happy about it. And there are different content discussing it. No, you should change this and that. So the content is not free and it's easy. When you are producing your content for the internet, you are thinking about SEO, how it will make your content appears to the others. How it will appear. So people decide to be part of these trends. And they are, no, now you're gonna get it. I remember colleagues saying, look, now people do reacts. You know reacts?
Mhm.
Take the face of Bolsonaro. This is that, and this is you in front of the face of Bolsonaro, and you're complaining about Bolsonaro because he said something. It's a thing. Everybody does react content because people like it. Because the social media that we are using, they are dealing with emotions, with our emotions.
Mhm.
So when you are confronting people in a way that is not, sorry, I'm almost there. When you are confronting someone, when you are shouting, when you are angry, people share it a lot. So reacting became a thing. But this is the trick for now. 2 months later, there's going to be another one. If you don't know what you want to do, you will be navigating through the trends and you will have no idea what to do and you will be frustrated all the time, thinking that you didn't reach what you should have. Not yet. Because my colleague did a react video and he got 1 million views. And I did it, but I still didn't get 1 million views. So I should keep doing that. But you should be thinking what you want to do. But without ignoring that you are living in a workplace that is full of tricks. And it's not this idea of, oh, here you're free to say everything, people will listen to you. People won't get your content because it's hard to be seen. So if you decide to start a project of science communication in social media, it's important to understand these difficulties because there will be many people telling you that it's easy. It's just take your phone and put there something. You have to take into account what is the ethics of your work, what you allow yourself to do. I was kidding about this thing of Bolsonaro, but I remember that colleagues of mine, they would say, Shana, it's nice what you do, but you should do it in another way. You are discussing Bolsonaro, you should put his face, you should. I decided to do a postdoc, trying to understand what Bolsonaro was doing on Twitter. I never did a video. I made different content. I produced different content for YouTube about Bolsonaro speeches. I never put his face on. I was not interested in that. It's, I don't know how to say that in English, it's sensationalism.
Mhm.
And it's very difficult not to be part of it because that's how people grow in many cases on the internet. So it's very challenging to think of your project, understanding all the features that are involved when you are developing a project on the internet. So if you want to reach 1 million people, you might have issues to do that, talking about linguistics. I mean, not that you will, but you might. It's important to understand how you're going to do that. How are you going to be funded? Are you going to do that with your colleagues? Are you talking to your colleagues or to general public? Do you want to do that? So publish or perish? Perish, of course. I had colleagues who told me, also on the internet, that I should post videos every day. No, you should. That's how it's going to work. Then you're going to be seen. Then you're going to earn more than 500 reais. Then you're going to get it. Or better, you should do lives. That's the thing now. That's what people do. All the time, people are telling you what you have to do, what you should do. But if I had followed this, how do you say that? Advice, thank you. If I had followed this advice, I wouldn't be on the internet today. Because if I had posted videos every day, I wouldn't be alive. So it's when I see colleagues from the universities talking about their difficulties because they are pressured to write more and more articles, more and more, and with more colleagues, I don't know. I always think that capitalism, it's very challenging to answer to the logic of our times. So what sort of choices can we make? So from our work, I decided not to perish and keep publishing, but I decided doing it understanding the limits of my work. I won't be having 1 million followers. And it doesn't make me a hero because I decided to go against the system. It's just that I understood that in order to achieve that, I would be changing the main interests that I have. I want to talk to people that not necessarily works with linguistics. And I feel very privileged to be able to do that. And because I'm not inside of, not working in a specific university, I feel very, very free to discuss the things that I do using different theories that I want to learn, that I'm curious about. And this is what I like about my work. If I have to follow what the platforms want me to do, I won't be able to do that. And I will be out. Of course, I might be out because there is no funding, because I'm very tired, because the different platforms ruined. But still, now that I'm doing what I'm doing for like many years, 9 years, I understand that we publish and perish sometimes, but the main idea is that I need to understand what I want to do and the limits of what I want to do. Otherwise, I would be lost in my own ideas, in my own work. I am not sure if it makes sense to you when people invite me to talk about what I do. Sometimes I'm afraid that it's all too personal. I don't want it to be personal, like it's me, Janaísa. There are many people trying to do that. And in this article from the researchers that were trying to post videos and discussing it in their article, I decided to go to their channel. And I was not surprised, but I completely understand that the videos that they said in the article, oh, now we are working on another 2 videos, they were never posted. Because it's a project, in this specific case, that example that I brought, that is very hard to pursue. It's not easy. And when I saw that, I was like, it's a pity. We should be talking more about it. Because the universities, they are under this pressure. You should be talking to the common public, to the general public. You should. It's the question from Twitter. A sua avó entende a sua tese? Why? Why should she understand my thesis? But there is this idea that we are not communicating enough. I'm not sure about that. But I think we should discuss more and more this pressure to produce, to publish inside of the university, and I know that you do that, but also outside of the university. This idea that it's easy and that we all should do that. Or that it's easy. The way that I do things today, it's very different the way I started doing it. I felt like an idiot when I had to record my own face. I was like, an idiot. What am I doing? It changed. Because I had the time to do that. But if you have a CAPES project, then you have like 2 years to solve everything. You have to do the article, you have the research, and then you have to publish the results for your peers. And then you have to do that for the common public. If you have 2 years for all that, of course it's gonna last like 1 month, if much, for you to discuss how you're gonna do that for the common public. It's not gonna work. It's gonna perish. And I am sorry if I sound very negative. I'm just trying to. I am very happy when I'm invited to talk about it, and I like to talk about the complexity because it has to do with the system you are living in, and it affects how you work inside of the university and outside of the university. So don't forget that. It's not that simple. It's beautiful. Look at what the student public, look at what he said to me. He came to study because he also watched my videos, and I'm very glad about it. It's the part of my job that is very nice when I can discuss these things with people. But we can't forget the adversities, the difficulties in the middle of the process, so that we can develop this criticism in this positive, false idea that it's very easy and everybody will understand what you do. Why everybody? So, I'd like to thank you to be here, listening to me. It's an honor for me. It was an honor to listen to Professor Mario. It made me also think about my work. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Jana. I would like to invite the panelists to sit over here. All of you, Rogério and Maria, you can sit here. I would also like to say that the attendance list will be available at the end of the event, and there are some QR codes in the auditorium that you can get the attendance list. Now I'll pass the floor to our second panelist, Maria Luisa Nobri, with a presentation titled Out of Sight, Out of Mind, Professional Accounts and the Demand for Overposting. Maria Luisa Nobre Borges is an undergraduate student majoring in English at the Universidade Federal de Berlândia and a language teacher. She has worked in regular language schools and given private lessons since she was 17 years old, which influenced her to pursue a language teaching career. She is currently a trainee teacher at an English institute in the city, besides continuing her private classes and coordinating a professional Instagram page where she shares an English tips and her daily life as an English teacher. So it's your turn.
So, good morning, everyone. As you said, my name is Maria Luisa. I'm a student here at Lisa's English. And so the title is Out of Sight, Out of Mind, Professional Accounts and the Obligation to Overpost. Um, I'd like to start by asking, I'm actually going to ask lots of questions, but I'd like to start with the first one, which is when you were looking for professionals, what do you usually do? Like, what do people in general do when they're looking for professionals? I guess that people usually uh, tend to look for their social media accounts, like Instagram, Facebook. So people nowadays are using social media just like a portfolio, right? Just like it's even more important than a real portfolio. When you're looking for a doctor, for a I don't know, an engineer, maybe a lawyer, and even a teacher. People look for your Instagram, your social media feeds. Uh, so this was also one of the ideas I had, and that's why I created my Instagram professional account because I wanted to share my experiences as an English teacher, but I also wanted to have more students because we need money, right? And um, how many Instagram accounts do you follow from people you follow are professional ones? And how did this thing of professional accounts become so common? Like, how did you create that? These questions have been in my mind for a long time, even though I do have an Instagram account and I'm trying to work with that and I share my experiences and I like to have the students and followers who interact with me. And I do work with that as well. Um, but I also question what I'm doing. I also question what we are doing when we're uh, using social media the way we are. Uh, I also wonder how social media would be if it didn't have a kind of invisible and non not mentioned, because I don't think people mention it a lot, obligation as professionals of overpost to be recognized, to be reliable professionals, to be real professionals, you know. The title here was inspired by an Instagram story I saw. I was scrolling and uh, uh, she's a friend of mine, an old one, and she also tries to work at the Instagram account. She works with cooking, and she posted a tip what we should do to be seen. Uh, we should post every day, at least something like good morning or good afternoon. It didn't have to be something relevant. You just should post because you have to be seen. Because if you're out of sight, you're also out of mind. So the idea is it doesn't matter what, you have to post something. So it may be not relevant, maybe even like maybe nothing, but you should have to post something to be seen. Um, this is the idea that is being spread. I can also relate with the things that some people say, coaches especially, that we should work while others are sleeping. So it's like we have to post, we have to be online all the time, and we have to be seen all the time. And this is one of the explanations for our we are also tired, not just who are posting, but also people who are uh, looking and consuming the content. We are so tired because of the exposure information all the time. Um, and besides that, being online all the time and it's nice, it's charming for people who are seeing, who are creating. Uh, what's the purpose of the looking if you are also tired? I really believe that this is the same line as I said of working all the time, and you have to work all the time because if you don't have free time, if you don't have time to relax, you will probably not have time as well to think of the system you're inserting because you don't have time. You're not going to question everything. You're not going to question what you're doing. You don't have time for that. So we're going to keep doing what they want us to do, even if you don't know where this day. Um, so our desire to have money, because as I said, we do need money. Even for leisure, we need money. But this desire of money makes us blind enough so the system keeps operating. So if you are working so hard, so intensively, if you have to post every day or to work every day all the time to be successful, you're going to have time to think what we're doing here. Um, so the social media is also a tool that the capitalism and the neoliberalism can use and is used to manage the structure we are inserting. And I don't think we should quit using social media, from my idea, of course, or stop sharing nice ideas, sharing nice things, and our experiences online. I'm just questioning here, is it really necessary to be online all the time? Is it really necessary to be so seen all the time and every day? And is it necessary to have so many followers and so many posts and so many stories? And more to actually be considered professional. Because if you don't have any sort of account, people may question, why not? Why don't you have one? And this sort of posting so many things every day and having followers reminds me of a situation that happened to me. Uh, I sometimes interact with some people online. I'm trying to stop doing that because it's something that is always annoying, not just to me, but also to the person who's receiving the comments. But I did it. It was a reel, and an English teacher, a so-called English teacher, she was sharing a tip on how to pronounce a word, and I just commented on the ways of pronounce that same word, and that contains something really important, and she didn't like it. She didn't like it at all. Um, I didn't want to, take her credibility as an English teacher, and anything like that. I just wanted to add something. That's what we usually do. We add information media. Um, and then she not only commented something really mean back to everybody, see, but she also sent me a direct message telling that I didn't have followers enough to have credibility to discuss with her. And she really did have like more than 1,000 followers, and I do have less than 500. But I'm a little English student while she learned English abroad when she was living abroad, and she decided to teach English because of that. So what is the credibility we're trying to say here? Like followers on Instagram, so you have a lot of followers on Instagram, so now you can teach English. That's it. You don't have to close the now. You don't have to teach anymore because it's enough to just know how to speak English and have a lot of followers on Instagram. And so this fact, I'm telling you, just because it reminds me of the thing that we discuss it a lot here in university. But what is the necessary? What is the thing that is necessary to be an English teacher? Like is knowing how to speak English enough. Is having the experience of traveling abroad enough. So I don't think that traveling abroad and knowing how to speak English is important. Of course it is. But I mean, here we have to learn lots of things like language conceptions, teaching methodologies, understanding different kinds of contexts in which the language may want to be studied, learn about social, race, and gender differences, how all of these things interfere in language acquisition. We learn all of this to teach. That's our word today. I don't know who told it, but we learn how to teach, and this is even more important than knowing how to speak English.
Yeah.
And yeah, when you are studying fact to be an English teacher, you learn all of that. And you're not probably going to say things like she said to me because you will probably understand better where learning pronunciation with no context is not that effective. Of important for accuracy and everything, but we have to understand that there are so many different ways of pronouncing things and so many different things that make you understand someone when this person is speaking English. I could also talk here about the fact that the internet has been used as a free and lawless area. Like people think they can say anything, they can commit crimes online. They have a free license to say things. It doesn't matter if they're hurting someone, and and that's why I think we have to do this that we're doing today. Like we have to talk about these things. We have to discuss about it, just like we're doing. Uh, so we have to talk about how social media is influencing our lives, our decisions. It's influenced everything, our desires, even the way we're dealing with work. So we're dealing with work in social media all the time. Returning to our main point, maybe it is time for reacting and keep using our social medias to show our work off, but also giving a new meaning to this use by using our space as a way of proposing changes and showing that there are other possibilities of sharing and participating and interacting online. Uh, and there are ways as well of being seen and noticed. Like it's okay to be noticed and seen for something that is not related to your work, your professional one, but it's also okay to just post things related to your work. And it's also okay to be seen and noticed sometimes because sometimes you're just tired because you have to work in the real world the, to have money, right? Um, so my point here is it is it is a good idea to find ways of using social media, but it's still bypassing what the social media is being built for. The social media was not built for us to interact and have friends, as we think they were. We can use it while fighting against its logic as well. We can adapt its objectives by being active while scrolling and attentive while posting and sharing things. Of course, we share memes, funny things, and we will talk about things that are not serious or anything that is related to work doesn't need it, right? But we can also consciously try to position ourselves as people who are really in control of these things. Like we can show that we are real people and we are in control of that. Of course, we're not. We have reasons, right? Uh, and I just like to mention here something that I wrote that I'm saying to be on the side of who share nice, but also real information, funny but also important issues, interesting but also supportive content, and last but not least, academic but also accessible knowledge. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria Luisa. Now we hand over the stage to our third and final panelist, Rogério Ângelo, who will be delivering a presentation titled "The University is Not a Company, Is It?" Rogério de Castro Ângelo is a professor of Portuguese and English at the Instituto Federal do Triângulo Mineiro, EFTM, campus de Tuiutaba. He is a doctoral student in a graduate program in linguistic studies at the Universidade Federal de Berlândia, currently investigating these courses on implementing emergency remote teaching at EFDM based on an interface between discourse analysis and applied linguistics.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Yes. I'll try to be fast here. It's a pleasure listening to Janaísa, to Malu, to Ryan, and so in fact, I'll start my presentation today. The university. I'll try to. So today I'll be talking about the university is not a company, is it? The truth is, it is a company. As a factory, normally factories they get resources and transform it into products. In the university, we get some resources.
Okay.
Better? Is it better? Thank you. So the universities they should work with developing criticism and the public good and whatnot. But in fact, what we end up doing is we get people and we make them into professionals for the market, and that's the product, the professionals and the diplomas. And I'm trying to talk about this publish or perish, and uh, trying to align my talk here with this. We have to be seen. How are we seen in the university is through scientific communication, but normally the more standard way of doing this is by publishing articles of what we research. So I'm a teacher at IFM and also a student here at the PGL, and our currency. So if the university is a factory, if we are uh, producing, if we are making products or selling, normally in this, in the university, the currency is publications and your latches. So normally that's, so I'm going to start with that. So the factory transforms resources into products. We are the product now, the teachers, our colleagues, and uh, this, the bad thing about the system is the way it's designed, it's always a logic of competitivity. So I, as an individual, should publish more and then be more recognized. I have to publish in good journals or reviews, or I have to publish books and more books, and also timing is very important. I have to publish not only a lot, but every day, every semester, because whenever we have a public selection, or if I want to write a project, an extension project, a research project, or very recently I wanted to get a scholarship here at the PGL, how do they evaluate? Oh, how much did you publish throughout my career? No, in the last 5 years, because that's that. You have to constantly read, research, and publish, and normally it's not really taken into account the, the purpose or how deep your research was, but how much did you publish? And so what's the currency of academy? The latches, the academic production. In this situation, education, not only education, but also it's turned into a commodity that is how do you sell that? And something very strange happens, which is for you to publish in, so you have to do your research. It's very important that after doing some research, you publish that so other your peers can read and can develop on that. But there's this thing that normally this work is an unpaid work, because then you have to take your time. I'm a teacher, so I have to do this teaching, but normally you have more and more work in class. You don't have so much time to do your research. You also have to do some extension projects with the other schools and other institutions in the city. And then, so what do? You asked, so work while they sleep. No, write while they sleep. You have to do your research. You have to do your articles during the night, on weekends, holidays. That's what you have to do. And then, so it's an unpaid work, because sometimes you write an article and then if you don't cite the correct authors, you're not going to be published. And then you go to a conference, a congress, and after a week of your going to a conference or congress, you receive an email. Your work, the title of your work, is very impressive. Because of that, I want to invite you to publish an article in this book we are assembling, and only if you only pay 500 reais, and then I had to do the research. I had to not sleep to write the article, and then I have to pay for someone to publish the article because then I can get some points in my latches because I got a publication. And let's say I don't pay for this company because that's it. The person who writes takes some time to do it, do the research, and then the person who is going to do the design of the book is going to get very underpaid, and who is getting the money? So that's basically what you said. Facebook is getting rich, Instagram is getting rich, and some uh, industries of publishing books, academic books, are getting the money, expropriating the work of uh, researchers and designers and whatnot. If you go for academic journals and magazines, you don't have to pay for it, but you are paying with your work. People who are evaluating this work, normally they are university teachers who are evaluating this work on weekends, on holidays, so they are also paying for it. And then 6 months, 8 months after you submitted your article, oh, but you didn't mention this and that, and maybe you are researching something else, but you have to go back to that article and then do the adjustments to fit in the system, and then something with I think is this logic of factories, and then you have to talk about the topic of the moment. You have to quote the author that this review requires you. Even so, if it's a relevant research, if it's for the public good, if it's something that will have an impact on society, so the agenda, sometimes you have to talk about what you want to talk about, to do research on race, gender, and whatnot. Sometimes you have to go for those other magazines and book editors so that you can pay to spread your work. So that's something publisher. I have only 2 minutes, so I'm going to run a little bit here. So unpaid jobs, I already covered. So funding. You mentioned, gentlemen, funding. So that's it. We have to fund a lot of our work. So when you say you spend hours for producing a video, an article, we are paying. So who is paying? Copies, or of course they do fund some projects, but they are very much aligned. So where does the money go? Engineering projects. So some departments get more money than others. You mentioned, I forgot the name of that institution that is funding some podcasts. So which areas are they funding? And then sometimes we are funding, if not financially, but also we are funding these scientific communications with our hard work, doing the research, assembling articles and publishing. Sometimes teachers, what we do is after a semester of classes, we gather some articles that have the same theme, and then we have to pay for this book editors to publish. So just to wrap it up, some resistance strategies that I think are important. So going against this logic is collaboration. So I didn't publish much, but whenever I want to publish something, gather in your research groups and publish within your circle, and then you share this also the knowledge, but also the price to pay for the article and the toll on writing an article. Also, read and cite our peers, because we always quote Foucault, Péchet, and whatnot, but why not quote Guilherme Fromm? Why not Janaísa? Why does it have to be always a white European person? So quote within ourselves. And third, last but not least, don't freak out. That's it. We don't have to publish every day. Of course, they try to sell you that. No, publish more, publish more, publish more. But relax, have a beer, go run at Sabia Park, do other stuff. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rogério. Now it's time for another round of debate. Feel free to share your comments and pose your questions. Raise your hand so we can bring the mic. Feel free to pose your comments and questions and in the chat.
May I just say something? Rogério was saying, no, you can discuss it with your peers and you can also cite them instead of just Foucault or what else. And I was thinking about the relation between the science communicators who are doing just videos on YouTube, and of course I'm talking about also my work, but not only that, and how we get into the articles. It's interesting because most of the time they don't. So the ideas are there. You go there, you think of a theme and you discuss things there. People come, they watch what you do, and they don't remember you after that because you are not part of the system.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is no value. You don't need to say anyone that you saw that on the internet. Nobody cares. So that's also something really interesting.
What is validated as scientific knowledge or
Yeah, how and if it is and how it is, how it enters the system. Because if you watch a video, you have idea through that. How this, I will rephrase it. The word the system is not good enough, but okay. There is always someone telling you that you should do science communication. So you do that to the general public. But then it's part of the job, but then this sort of job is not recognized because you won't be in the system. It's out of the system. You have to do it, but this part of your job not necessarily. It's interesting. I've been talking about linguagem não binária for many years. I'm not the only one, of course. That's not why I'm telling you that. But I never wrote anything for the universities, never. And I've been there for like maybe 8 years. And then I wrote one article. I was invited by Marie Claire. It's I don't know, it's a magazine. Some years ago, and I wrote an article for them. And once, actually not only once, but I'm remembering this episode, a person came to me, oh, have you written anything about it? I find it very interesting. The things that you bring in your videos, the ideas that you share, I love it. But have you written anything about it? And I was like, I did, but it was an article for Marie Claire. And then the person, nice. And that's it. So I understand the difference. It's different when I'm writing something for Marie Claire or in my blog. But if you are engaging with the ideas from the video, the ideas from the Marie Claire article or the blog that you read, why don't you engage that knowledge that you are dialogue? I don't know. It's dialogic. You are talking to it. Why don't you engage with it formally? Why is it ignored?
The session is open. You can ask a question. But we have a question from YouTube to our panelists. Social networks algorithm leads people to radicalize ideas and pseudoscientific posts. How can we, as users, avoid that?
Should I? I don't think there is only one answer to that. It's hard to talk about it because we usually simplify the discussion. I don't know how it helps. There are different strategies. We can't forget that there is usually a lot of money involved when we are talking about this spread of misinformation. It's not always, but many times there is a lot of money involved. When you think, for instance, of Brasil Paralelo and the discussions that they promote, don't forget the money. There are different news articles discussing the question of the money that comes from uh, misinformation to promote misinformation. But I think that we can forget that the social media, they work with your feelings. I don't know if that's the best way to discuss that formally. Maybe there are other terms, so I'm sorry. But we can't forget that because it makes you angry and then you share. And you share really fast. So personally, even understanding that it doesn't depend on me, Janaísa, alone, what I have been doing is trying not to just react so fast. I I I think we should follow the advice from Professor Mario, identify, try to follow the two steps. What am I doing? Why am I doing this way? Because it's made for you to share fast. And then you have the other issue and then the other one. And I usually not, I will, it depends on the social media that we're in. Twitter. Now people make money being disgusting. I know it's not only there, it's been for many years, including on the TV, but you pay to have the stamp and then you start commenting horrible things because it makes people share your thoughts, even though you are sharing to criticize. So I always give a step back and think, who is this person? People are always saying, don't discuss on the internet, on Twitter, because we're discussing with a teenager of 15 years old who has no idea what he's saying. Of course, I'm not demeaning it here, the teenagers. It's not the idea, but it's a person that don't show the face and is saying something horrible just to be seen. So the strategies to be seen are crazy. So I believe that trying to understand why you are sharing, what you are sharing, and what the other person is doing. And now, because it's not something that you are going to solve yourself, we have to talk about regulamentação das redes. You have three important people dealing with people from the whole world that are producing content, discussing things, have their data shared with I don't know who. So we need to the real aspect here is not Janaísa solving the issue, or Lu or Rogério. No, it's talking about regulamentação do que é rede social. That's what we have to do. Discuss that.
Yeah, thank you. As we approach the conclusion of the morning activities of ECDDay, on behalf of the morning, what? Yes, it's unfortunately I have to finish, but for those here and tuning in on YouTube, I warmly thank you. I thank you for all the participation of the panelists and the Limario, Fabio De Patti, and the organizer committees. We are gonna show a video from Carla Tavares, uh, the visionary of the ECDDay. And so I thank you all for the participation. It was really important to me and to all of, and I hope it was really important to all of you. Thank you.
Vídeo.
Não, ela fez o vídeo, eu legendei. Vai ser traçado.
I'm Carl Tavares, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about the history of ECDDay. The first ECDDay, English. I'm Carl Tavares, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about the history of ECDDay. The first ECDDay, English Culture and Diversity Day, was held in 2012 with the theme Thanksgiving Day and Cultural Diversity. Initially, the event was proposed to fulfill a demand from the English Teaching Assistantship (ETA) program, which stated that one of the objectives was for the ETAs to promote American culture. But we only started thinking about this objective in the second half of the year, and it was when we came up with the idea of celebrating this classic date in the American culture as close as possible to the American way. Addressing the relationship between Thanksgiving and cultural diversity was a challenge, but the task was well accomplished through roundtables, conversation circles, film debates, and at the end, a huge dinner with roast, turkey, and everything else. Dinner was prepared by elite students, English language teaching for the elderly, and it took place in the lobby of Block 50 with live music and decoration. But as an English professor, I missed an event entirely in English that proposed interactions different from those produced in the classroom, interactions which promoted cultural exchange. Therefore, we repeated the event every year with the support of the ETAs and the collaboration of the nuclear team of teachers and the students of Curso de Letras Inglês. We tried to choose themes that were relevant to the ETAs and to the moment we were living in. So on the third day, we celebrated the 50th anniversary of Martin Luther King's famous speech, I Have a Dream, questioned the American dream and the ideal of equality in an increasingly stratified world, bringing the anxieties and social conflicts of the present ETAs closer to us Brazilians. The following year, our students proposed the theme World Englishes. As a result of discussions they had had in the classroom with our dear colleague, Professor Chambo. And this is to illustrate how our voice as teachers resonate with our students' concerns. It was a huge challenge because the ETAs had no idea what World Englishes was or the scope of this discussion. Over time, the event started to take on our style and identity, as it proposed things of a more general scope and not just those related to English-speaking culture. Proof of this are the themes chosen to guide the event discussions. In 2019, for example, with the theme The World of Tomorrow, ECDDay debated the conception of innovations, the ways in which these themes has been exercised in different parts of the world, and the effects of both past and present actions in the future of people's lives. In 2021, the journey proposed a debate on the concept of freedom and its implications today with the theme Freedom Unbound, Culture and Diversity in a World of Mass Manipulation. These are just a few samples to illustrate the variety of subjects addressed by the event over the years, because it would take me a long time to mention them all. But I confess that the ECDDay that most captivated and touched me was the one in 2020. Because we were in the midst of the pandemic, trying to restore some normality with remote work. We had never done a fully online event before, and that's when we embraced the challenge. We proposed the ECDDay online with a strong, difficult, harsh, yet extremely rich and necessary theme. Resilience and or resistance narratives in the face of COVID-19. For me, it was a memorable day when we exchanged the stories and encountered the very diverse realities, especially because we brought as guests people aged 65 and older who, at that moment, had their voices silenced, their existence confined, their bodies victimized by death and the disease that afflicted all of us so much. But on that day, the voices and anxieties of these people joined those of many others from different ages and realities. And something very powerful emerged from that event, which was the beauty of exchange, the strength of words, the power of fraternity. Over all these years, I've had the opportunity to work with students, colleagues, friends, and people I've met because of ECDDay. People who have helped me grow as a person. I've been blessed with this interaction and with the discussions we've had the courage to engage in. So, my heartfelt gratitude and recognition to everyone who worked on and promote this event throughout all this time. Thank you so much.
Aham. Volte.